we go. Hey, everybody, how you doing?
Hey,
We got 21 people in here. Wow.
Nice.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Great.
I'm doing fine. Weather's nice and everything's going good. We're kind of waiting on the sweet coffee lady. She hasn't shown up on Facebook yet to get her link to come on. So I don't know. We may get stood up tonight. We'll see if she comes on. We'll kind of play it by ear. And
I used to be really used to that.
yeah, I tested her camera out Thursday night for her and told her, I said, now, Saturday at 8 o'clock, you click on there and we'll all be here waiting for you. So we'll see if she shows up or not. But I do know that some people have gone by and bought coffee from her, which is really nice. They emailed me today. Hey, how you doing? Let's see who we got here. Crypto, he was here early, but I told him he was late. Hey, David, how you doing? Yeah, you're back. Okay. And we got
6 a.m. Who gets up at 6 a.m.?
6 a.m. Somebody call you at 6 a.m.? Oh, it's 6 a.m. where you're at. Okay. Where are you? Where are you located? I'll bet you it's on the West Coast. Somebody mailed me the other day and asked me if we could move it a little bit because it was real early in the morning whenever they got up. But I guess it depends on which side of the country you live on. Oh, San Francisco. Yeah, he was in California too. We got another one. Good evening at 9 p.m. at Penang, huh?
I'll be there in a couple weeks.
Just an hour difference from us. So, Charlie, you wanted to talk about business, didn't you?
Sort.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. You got the floor.
Well, I just spent the last 3 days in Pattaya Beach. For those of you who may not know, that's a beach resort town south of Bangkok, about a 90-minute drive away from Bangkok. And I was down there with my girlfriend's family, is a very large family. We rented a townhouse, and there were actually 16 of them at one point, which I enjoyed. I was making a video about how you'll hear about expats talking about don't let your Thai family take over your life. And while they haven't actually taken over my life, I kind of enjoy hanging around with them. They're cheerful and nice people, and they treat me very nicely. And so it was a good weekend. But what I wanted to talk about is today when I was getting ready to leave, I was at a coffee shop just off Beach Road, I guess near Soy 6 down in that area. And it was down, I guess, just below the Hard Rock Cafe, somewhere around there. And it was a coffee shop. It was a nicely done coffee shop. And the owner was there, who was a woman about 40 years old, a Thai woman about 40. She spoke very good English. And I was asking her about business and how it's been. And she said that August of this year was very good and very promising. She said there were a lot of Indian tourists that were coming. There were a lot of Middle Eastern tourists, primarily from Saudi Arabia, and Europeans were starting to show up as well. And she said, I'm beginning to see people that used to be regulars here prior to the lockdowns and COVID and all that. So we're talking, like over 2 years ago. And she said they're beginning to come back. So she was very hopeful. However, in September and early October, it's been raining like crazy in Thailand. And she said, business in September wasn't that great. But she was very hopeful that this year's tourist season, once the rain stops, I guess that's around November is when the tourist season, the high season, they call it, begins. And I was just kind of wondering, the difference, because I'm seeing a mixed message, like the Pattaya Beach is certainly better than it was, a year and a half ago when I first went there after COVID, and there was hardly anything open. And now it's kind of getting back to normal, but it seems there are way more people trying to sell you things than there are people looking to buy. It looks like it's kind of a mixed bag of things. And, I was just kind of wondering, what anybody else thinks, and I guess the question is, will Thailand return to, the normal amount of tourists that it used to have, the millions and millions of tourists that used to be here? And if it does get back to that, are we going to see something like that this year in November and December and January?
I don't think so.
First question, did you pick up a suit from one of the vendors?
Yeah, I don't wear suits anymore. I do buy shirts, custom shirts here in Bangkok, but I have a place where I get them.
Good topic. One thing I've heard is a lot of the businesses, many places are starting to like build their business around Thai clientele, especially down in the eastern seaboard, Pattaya and Koh Larn, to bring people in from Bangkok, to come, weekend. The weekends down here are nuts, and I'm way out of the city south, but the traffic and everything on the weekends, I mean, it's just, they come from Bangkok. I mean, they're doing a lot of stuff to draw in the Thai tourists, the domestic tourists here in Thailand. So that's one thing. I don't think, it's going to be like the old high seasons yet, but I think it's definitely going to be, way better than it has been. I mean, I see in just the little towns over here, Banapur and Bang Suri, I see, 6-8 months ago, I didn't see barely any, Farang. It's a lot of, I think, Russian area, type people, and especially Banapur, but I'm seeing a lot more walking around now. I see a lot more, because they stick out like a sore thumb, and now it's just a lot more. So.
Well, it's the same way up here. We are seeing a few from out of town, but it's mostly Thai tourists, coming from other parts of the country that we're seeing up here, and in the stores and taking the tours and things like that, and a lot of the attractions. It's mostly what we're seeing is Thai people coming from other parts. So. We don't know, it may be the trend that's coming. I don't know. I know when we go on trips and stuff, the amount of tourists from outside the country that we were seeing before, it was more Thai people. And, I see I'm seeing a lot of Koreans up here, that are traveling here. But other than that, it's mostly, mostly just people from inside Thailand.
I met a
Coffee.
couple from.
Go
I
ahead.
met a couple from Mongolia the other day,
Wow.
and I was like, "Are you guys speaking Russian?" They're like, "No, Mongolian," and I'm like, because it didn't sound like Chinese or what. It was like its own unique language. I thought it sounded more like a Russian bloc type. I mean, Mongolia was part of Russia, at some point. Maybe it still is. I don't even know, but. It kind of sounded like that, like when they're speaking. But they spoke pretty good English too. So
Mongolians would probably be upset if they heard you say they were part of Russia. Mongolians that's Genghis Khan. He ruled this part of the world at one point.
Well, it was part of the Soviet Union. I don't know. Is it still part of the Soviet Union? It was.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My only experience with Mongolians is when I was teaching yoga in Singapore. 3 Mongolian women came in, and they're very tall. They were very beautiful, but they were much bigger than the people I was used to who lived in Singapore. And very good-looking women, and they were the most misbehaved people that I've ever had in a yoga class. Supposed to keep your mouth shut and do the postures, right? And they kept talking and yakking, and finally I yelled at them. I got mad. I said, whatever I said, and I yelled at them, which is probably not a good thing for a yoga teacher to be doing in a high-priced spa in Singapore. But I got frustrated about a half hour into it, and they totally became. They started behaving well. It was such the right thing to do. And all the Chinese women afterwards would say, "Oh yeah, now you got to yell at them."
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That's a sum total of my Mongolian experience.
I just looked it up. So after the collapse of the Qing dynasty in 1911, Mongolia declared its independence and achieved actual independence from the Republic of China in 1921. Shortly thereafter, the country became a satellite state of the Soviet Union. I guess the Soviets helped them gain their independence from China, and so they were a satellite. But I think they've broken ties, obviously, after the Soviet Union broke up.
Yeah, they're accepting draft conscripts now.
Yeah.
It's-
There's a wall now. You're gonna-
okay, no problem. If everything goes well, I will arrive in Chiang Mai around November 1.
Hmm. Mongolians don't associate themselves as Russian. Huh. Very proud of their own belong. Spends lots of time there. Huh.
They're still talking about Genghis Khan.
They're, probably they were kind of like Canada to America, just under their umbrella, the protector.
I'll tell you, up in the city today, the river got so high that it brought mud up on the edges along the side of the river. They got about 5-6 inches of mud along all the sidewalks along the sides of the river, and they had all kinds of crews out there shoveling it and digging it and sweeping it, and they were sweeping the streets. And you ride through there in the streets and things, and you wouldn't have thought that there was a flood there 3 or 4 days ago. They're really trying to get
it's
it
crazy.
back.
We went to a restaurant today, and I wouldn't even think that they would have got wet or anything, but they were closed the other day. We went there to eat, and then we went back today, and I saw they had sandbags at the entrance. I'm like, oh, they had to do a little cleanup the other day. That's what happened. I'm like,
That's a mess. Well, we didn't get hit too bad here. The move-on south of us, they had probably about 8 inches of water, and they had the sandbag in front of their houses. But here we didn't have anything in the streets. Just a little bit north of us was messed up. Hey, there's Jacko. I'm going to add Jacko to the screen. There we go. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Are we talking about Mongols?
Mongolians, I guess.
Oh,
The Mongol.
Jack.
are
Yeah,
you a Mongol?
he has Chiang Mai Thai video. Are you going to show us your scar?
I don't. I'm sure you don't want to see the scar.
I don't think so either. He just broke his hip.
It's a big crack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
it's a
he
big
just,
crack. You don't want to see that.
now he
Oh.
just you just
Okay,
had your hip repaired at a government hospital, and
Academic hospital.
yeah, the teaching hospital. Man, I can't believe that. That's wild. Well, at least you're okay.
The academic hospital. Yeah, it was a good experience. They have a lot of staff, and the senior staff. They are on teachers level. So yeah,
Well,
they are.
he paid about he paid for hip surgery what I paid for about half of what I paid for knee surgery. So it's not too bad.
Yeah,
Not bad.
and if I would have to pay it in the Netherlands, I would pay 10 times double. 10 times, 10 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How was
serious.
how was the food? I saw some of the food that you got. Was it pretty good?
It was decent, but not special. It was like little like the food at the quarantine hotel.
Fish cake.
Get what you paid for. How bad was the flood, and had things got back to normal quickly? The flood was, it wasn't bad here, but inside the city, just on Changklan Road and east of Changklan Road, towards the river, and on the other side of the river was really, really bad. There's probably a foot and a half of water in some of the places. If you go back through the, not the last video, but the video before, I think, I showed some of the flooding, but they've got everything cleaned up. Everything's, pretty much back to normal. All they're doing right now up there is just cleaning the sides of the river where the mud got on the sidewalks and up around the hotels and stuff, where the mud, came right up onto the concrete. But other than that, it's perfectly normal. Everything seems to be open and people moving around. And I don't know of any place that's shut down now, so it's hard to tell. But hopefully we won't get that again. Now, what about down in Pattaya, Greeny? Have they started cleaning up yet?
I don't know. I haven't been down there in a week or so. I don't even know how bad it got. I imagine everything had to get flooded. It always does, but I'm not going anywhere near there when there's rain or flood.
Yeah.
This mess.
The last 3 days, everything was fine. We did get some rain at night, which is typical of this time of year. There were a couple of thunderstorms, that I heard, but I was in town 3 of the 3 days. I was down there for a little while during the day. I wasn't down there at night, and everything is pretty normal. I think they would like a few more people, but it is a beach town. You can't expect too much in the way of tourists coming to the beach on in high rainy season. But one of the things that I like about this time of year, driving back today, in the rainy season, when it's not raining, when you've had a lot of rain and it clears the air, and there's no smoke, there's no haze, and driving into Bangkok from the south was just gorgeous today. I drove into Bangkok about 11 a.m. And I was coming on an elevated highway. I think it's 336, I think is the number of it. And you got a whole, a panoramic view of the skyline of Bangkok and the clouds behind it and the blue skies and the sun. It's just gorgeous. It was really, really nice. And you don't get to see that all that often, especially once the rain stops and they start burning stuff, around the whole region, and the cloud, and it starts to get hazy. So that's a nice aspect of the rainy season when it's not raining.
Yeah, it does get clear. That's nice. Same thing for me looking out at that Koh Larn. Like, sometimes it gets so hazy you can't even see the island. But, lately when the rain stops, it's just clear. Perfect view.
Yeah. Since I plan to be in Chiang Mai for more than a month, coinciding with the Qatar World Cup, November 20th through the 18th of December, looking for accommodation a stone's throw from the place where the minded, I don't know where they congregate. I think, if I'm not mistaken, when they had the soccer teams here last time, they stayed I think at the La Meridian. I'm not really sure, but it would be somewhere in that area, probably downtown. I don't know exactly.
But where will people go to watch it? I only think about the Renegade at the Moat, but it's a sports cafe, and otherwise, yeah. Which
okay, yeah. If you're looking for a place to watch it, yeah. But yeah. I think he was asking me. Accommodations of stones from a place where the minded soccer. Okay,
minded soccer fans.
Yeah, I don't know, Jacko. Where do they show it up there?
Yeah, I don't know which place is the best place to go to see the soccer games. There are many cafes and restaurants. They have the sports on television. But where the most people will go, I am not sure. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking about the sports cafe like the Renegade. It's at the Moat. Yeah. That's a real sports cafe, and I think they have the room.
They would probably have it, yeah.
Yeah, and most people will flock over there, I think.
Yeah. I think most of the places will have it going whenever it's. I'm not a sports fan, so I don't know. Now my wife will know. She'll have it here on the TV. I won't see my TV if it's on TV, but most of the bars and stuff will have it.
Yeah, we'll have some.
But
that's a luck question.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a sports fan. I couldn't tell you anything about sports. But now she knows all the teams and she keeps up on it. Matter of fact, I think she's probably getting ready to watch one right now. I don't know. Not my cup of tea. I don't. I can watch a baseball game or a football game once in a while, but other than that, it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, when it's the final or something important, then I can watch the soccer game.
Yeah.
If the Netherlands come 2 rounds further than the beginning, then it will be interesting. Before that time, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
I've been recording all the games from America, Michigan and Detroit Lions games every weekend. I set my DVR in America at home, and then I can just watch it on my phone the next morning when I wake up here. It's go through all the commercials. It takes me like 2 hours to watch a 3-hour game, so I haven't missed any games I want to see.
Yeah, who knows? We're talking about you.
Oh, I heard it.
Yeah, we're talking about your soccer games.
Talking about football. Here I am.
Everybody. Hello.
No, somebody just asked, they said I'll put it up here. They said, I plan to come to Chiang Mai for a month coinciding, and none of us knew where the soccer games would be played in the city. Do you know?
You mean here in Chiang Mai?
I don't know. I don't think they're not going to be playing here, but they'll be playing somebody else. I think he's asking where
Qatar. It's in Qatar. It's not in
Radar.
Thailand.
Okay, they're going to play it on the screen, TV.
Yeah, but they don't tell what channel yet.
Oh, okay.
Following.
Okay.
Okay. Where's your coffee, lady?
She didn't show up.
Okay, then I make coffee. Then I refresh her.
Yeah, you'll have to.
Are
With
you
coffee
already?
later, you got us 4 mugs.
Yeah, she didn't show up. The most consistent rainy season in many. Yeah, I don't ever remember it being this bad. As far as the rain, and we thought up here, like it would never gonna stop. But fortunately, today we didn't. I think today's the first day we didn't get any rain.
Did it reach your house, the floods, Bill?
No. It got about a mile up the road from me on the big road, and then the move, like I said, the move on behind me, it flooded about 8 or 9 or 10 inches, and that's about it. But my move on was clear. I didn't have any problem at all.
No.
But let's see what that says. Yeah, you can watch it on YouTube this year. Okay. It says you can watch the Wolverines on YouTube this year.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to see anything live. I like to just forward to the commercials. Late for me too.
She'll stay up 4 o'clock in the morning watching soccer games. I'll be in there sounding like yeah, I'm raising up off the bed like the damn, like things are going crazy. But
that reminds me and Charlie too much of working midnights. There's no way I'm staying up for that.
No, I'm not going to do it either. I went to a football. I'll tell the story. I went to a football game in Tampa one time, and with a friend of mine who was a Buffalo Bills fan. Buffalo Bills. That's when O.J. Simpson played for him. And he's a big Buffalo Bills fan, and the only tickets we could get were right in the middle of the Tampa Bay section. And he was screaming, going crazy. I thought we were going to get killed before we get out of there. Right in the middle of the Tampa section, they're all waving their Tampa banners, and he's sitting there yelling, go OJ, or juice. But anyway, I went and got a hot dog, and I got lost. I'm walking around down the front of the crowd, and I hear somebody yelling, "Hey, your buddy's up here!" Everybody knew who the hell we were. But,
Buffalo Bill?
huh?
You Buffalo Bill?
No, I'm not Buffalo Bill.
Bye.
Oh yeah. I was on Chanclan. They weren't taking boats down, but they had 4-wheel drive vehicles going up and down the road delivering water and stuff. That crazy day I went out to make a video.
Is that where you were sloshing around in that muddy water? Is that?
Yeah, and I've got these shoes that I wear, and they're expensive shoal shoes, especially made for your feet, and every time I wear them, if I get my feet wet, I get a blister. Well, when I got home from walking there, I had a blister. So, I that night I went straight to the doctor, and they got me on antibiotics. But I thought about it, and I said, that was about the dumbest damn thing I ever did, was walking through that crazy ass water. But, the problem is you walk 2 or 3 feet, and you can fall in them drains. If you look at the video, there's a spot where I get in front of the Shangri-La, and they had crates stacked up, and there were 4 guys standing on the crate, and they had all sandbags there, and they're standing there and say, don't walk there, you'll fall in. And there was a big drain hole that was open right in front of where they were sitting. If I'd have stepped on it, you'd never seen me again. But luckily they were standing there. I'd rather watch the commercials than the Lions game, just in a few years watching them.
It's exacerbating.
Hey, I got a football story. I was when I was a younger guy, I used to watch the New York. I'm a New Yorker, so I was a Jets fan. You know, back when Joe Namath was the quarterback. For those of you who are old and North American, you might remember that. But we're talking like American football that has the big giant humans in padding and helmets that crash into each other, not the kind where they run around and kick the ball at each other. So I kind of faded away from that. I wasn't so much of a fan anymore. I don't know why. As I got older, I started to lose interest in it. But my fire company, I was a lieutenant in Engine Company 5 in Manhattan, and we got this new guy in who's still there. He's a captain now, a guy named Jimmy Andruzzi. And Jimmy Andruzzi was he was a good man, you know, and I helped break him in. He was a probie, and I got to know him pretty well. Probie is a probationary firefighter. And his brother, Joe Andruzzi, for you big football fans and you Patriot fans, you might know who he is. He has, I think, 4 Super Bowl rings. He was an offensive lineman for the Patriots. I believe he was an offensive lineman for the Patriots. So, you know, he used to come to the firehouse for dinner. He was a gigantic human. I mean, he was like this big hulk of a man who was an athlete to boot. I mean, a world-class athlete. And he was just the nicest guy. I mean, I guess you can be like that. I mean, and so I had to start rooting for the Patriots because I knew somebody on the team. How could you not root for the Patriots? That got me in a lot of trouble in New York. But Joe turns out he's a wonderful man. I mean, he's since retired from football and he lives in Boston now. He grew up in Staten Island, which is a borough of New York City. And but he lives up near Boston somewhere. And you know, after being on the Patriots for, I guess, you know, a long time, I think over 10 years. And he has foundations and he's like a real local hero up there. And so, yeah, I got to know that guy. You know, he was at my firehouse a couple of times having dinner and he used to eat a lot.
Coffee lady sending me a message now. I'll know something in a minute here. See if she's going to make it. I love the cell phones. See what she says. Hope she can get on. We may not be rained out after all.
So I have a question. How'd you break your hip?
Oh, yeah, I spilled some vegetable oil. Yeah, vegetable oil is the worst. Huh? So I spilled it and I tried to clean it. And then I slipped over it on the tile floor here at home.
Oh,
Man.
wow.
Yeah. And that was the worst part was it was outside the house on the, how you call it, on the deck outside the house. And my phone was here in the bedroom.
Oh, man.
And that was about, now that's 15 meters apart from each other. That was the worst part of it. And my Thai is not so good. And I was always joking with my wife, kloi doi. But while it's choi doi, help. And I yelled, help. But the neighbor, they didn't understand what I was meaning, what I was crying about. They must be thinking, oh, the long guy must be drunk again or something like that. Don't mind him. So yeah, it took me half an hour to go from outside to my phone here inside to call my wife to ask for a doctor. Yes, that was the worst half an hour in my life, I think.
Yeah, that had to be painful.
Yeah, crawling and tiger crawling the last part to the bedroom.
Wow.
That was the worst part of my life. But yeah, then after half an hour, I reached my this chair where I sit. I reached my phone. I could talk to my wife, and then the ambulance came, brought me to the hospital.
I'm glad you're okay now.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah, the displacement was minimal, so I'm glad that even after half an hour crawling, that the displacement stayed minimal.
Yeah, you're real lucky. If now I just had a friend of mine up here fell off his bicycle and broke his hip, and they had to do a complete hip replacement for him.
Yeah, this was a clean cut, so that was very lucky for me. They put on 3 bolts and some plates
Hmm.
to fix it, to fixate it, and yeah, now it needs time to heal again, and that will take a long time. But
That's
okay, I survived. That's something.
Well, as soon as you can tolerate it, get it moving. Movement is helpful.
Yeah, I learned to do my exercise. I have a whole booklet of exercises I have to do every day.
Yeah,
Keep it, keep the muscles, because I cannot stand on the foot, not for not more than 10% weight on the foot. And I still have to remain the muscles, because without the muscles you are nothing. Yeah, so I have a lot of exercises to do to keep the legs in shape.
good.
And for now, I'm only I'm using crutches, but only inside the house. I'm not going out yet. I take it slow.
She's having internet connections over there, which doesn't surprise me. Just lost connection to you, Mike. Make sure. Okay. Maybe she'll come on the channel here in there. Oh well. Well, it's good. It's good that you're at least able to walk around a little bit. Let's see. The browser has blocked you.
Yeah. If I should lay down in the bed for the whole day, that would be a thing. But now,
Yeah, you gotta try to keep moving. Like you said, the muscles, like you just waste away if you don't stay on top of the physical therapy. I guess that's physical therapy in Thailand. They give you a list and say, do this stuff,
Yeah, but you have to do it yourself.
They send you and make you go.
You have to do it yourself. You have to motivate yourself. Now I'm glad my wife will motivate me, but yeah, that's important, because the physiotherapist, she only gives instructions, and that's it.
I'm sure there's plenty of YouTube videos that could help you out. Type
Yeah,
in
I have my own imagination.
therapy, you'll probably get 10,000 videos.
Yeah,
Just look up some old Richard Simmons videos and just bounce around with it.
you can exercise the whole day, actually. So I do some session of exercise for half an hour, but when I'm sitting in the chair, I'm exercising too, because moving the leg up in front and moving the ankles. Because yeah, you cannot sit down. I cannot sit down like I used to do. Also because of thrombosis, you have to be aware of thrombosis.
Yeah. That was my, when I had my knee surgery, that was my biggest concern, was getting thrombosis in my knee. And, because I'm always on blood thinners anyway to keep my blood thin. So they had to take it off. Still scoot around on his butt. Yeah. That's because you and me fell in the middle of coming in the door. She thought she could hold me up coming through the door, but it didn't work. But they took me off my blood thinners to do the surgery, and then right after the surgery they gave me back my blood thinners again. But I had to make sure that I kept my knee moving all the time. I didn't. They did the surgery at 8:00 at night, and I was out by 9, and I stayed up all night moving my knee. I was so scared that I was gonna, have a blood clot. But they had those boots, just like those boots that you had on. But it was funny that they only put it on the leg that they didn't operate it on. They didn't put it on the other one. So
yeah, but with me they do it on both. Yes, I was surprised they would do it on both, but both legs were in the sleeves and then pumping air in and out.
Yeah,
it was like a massage, and it should be done all night, but I couldn't sleep with it, so they took it off at some point.
I had no control over my left knee, when I got out of the hospital. So she drove home and I sat in the back seat, and I had crutches. And what I had wanted to do was just get out of the car and get on the concrete, sit down, and then just, do the scuttlebutt, no, I'll hold you up. So she gets behind me, and I've got these crutches, and I was feeling pretty good. I could put a little pressure on it, but not a lot. And I got up on there's like 2 steps to get in the door. And I knew once I got in the door, I'd be fine because I'd just sit on my butt. But she was behind me, and I put that left foot down, which is the one they operated on. And I mean, it just gave out. The both of us, the crutches, her, me, and everything. We just went flying backwards, rolling down the driveway. She goes, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I was fine. And so what I ended up doing, I just said, just open up the door. And that's what I did. I pushed with my hands on my butt. I got over to my here she comes. Yeah, there she is. Let me get her in here. Hey, little girl, what are you doing? She made it. Hey, yeah, you got here. But I just scooted around in my computer chair all night and then scooted over to the bed. There's my little buddy. How you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, we lost her.
There she was.
She was there for a minute.
Yeah. She
Hello,
was.
how are you?
Body-wise.
ค่ะเดี๋ยวก่อนแป๊บนะเจคุยไปก่อนสวัสดีค่ะ
Swadika. Did you have some people come see you today and buy coffee from you? He's having computer problems.
I think it's a phone problem.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. That's funny.
At least you busted up that conversation. We were starting to sound like that scene in Jaws where they were all sitting in the boat showing each other their scars. Yeah. The sharks
There they are.
the guy,
I can see you fine. I can see you fine now. How are you doing today? She may not be able to hear. Can you hear us?
สวัสดีค่ะ
Swadika. Are you okay?
Thailand sorry
Oh, that's okay.
It's
Everybody
very
can.
bad.
That's okay. Did you sell a lot of coffee today?
Very weak internet.
Oh. She's got a bad connection. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Lordy. Pop back up and just turn black. Oh, we lost her. Oh, well, maybe she'll come back. But anyway, there you go. Coffee Lady was here for a little while. But if you're all are waiting for her, go by and see her and go buy some coffee from her. Everybody that I've talked to that has bought coffee from her said her coffee is very, very good. I had
Where is the place, Bill?
It's on the southeast corner of the moat, Ratchakamakakla Road in Soy 3.
Oh, yeah, that's clear.
I've got the GPS.
Yeah, it's in the last video, I think.
Let me tell her that's okay.
Yeah. It must be in one of the last videos, I think. The coffee lady.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've seen that. Cannot watch them all, eh? Try to watch them all, but
So yesterday I went to McDonald's on Beach Road in Pattaya just to get some French fries. And I ran into a guy. I was actually making a video, and I hear this Brit guy say, "Hey, are you a YouTuber?" And his name is Tony. I wound up sitting down having lunch with him, and he's a Brit YouTuber who was teaching English in China for a long time. I want to say like 12 years, a long time. I forget exactly how long. I think he said he was 63 years old, and he's doing YouTube videos as well. He's just getting kind of started out. He's doing it a couple of months now. but I had a pleasant chat with the guy, and I thought he might be an interesting guy to have on the podcast here, because he can talk about that aspect of being an Asian expat, a Western guy living in Asia, having lived in China for quite some time, and he's here in Thailand because he wants to be. He thinks that China's going to be opening up soon, and he wants to be nearby, so he's staying here in Thailand until China reopens. He plans to go back and be an English teacher there again. So I had a nice chat with the guy. I watched his video and I saw his channel, and they're like, 10,000 other expat channels. We're all doing videos these days, but I thought it'd be fun to have him on the podcast. So I'm waiting I invited him via email. I'm waiting to hear back from him. So maybe he'll be here next week.
Yeah, good. It's always nice to hear from other people, and everybody's got different opinions of everything. And you can talk just about everything. Now, I've got a guy that's going to come on in a week or two, and he's real versed on the benefits for the veterans up here, and he's going to come up and I'm going to explain all the things that the veterans that are up here in Thailand, the benefits that they can get. And I thought that would be real interesting, because they have a group that I think her name is Lay, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody told me that. I don't know. She's going to come into the chat here in just a minute and leave a comment, because I think she can get in there. But there's a lot of benefits available for the veterans here that are not available to us. There she is, Americans. Yeah, she just came into the chat. She's right here. Hello. I guess she's got a strong enough computer to get on YouTube, but can't quite work the camera thing out.
Totally. So
yeah.
So I actually have some questions for that guy. I mean, I wound up part of this Thai family that I kind of call my own these days.
Yeah, there she is. There's the little girl. Hello.
Yeah, coffee lady. Sorry, crap.
There's my little buddy. How
Poor
are you
lady.
doing? Swadika.
Okay, strong. Cup, cup.
I wait the live stream, but internet is not good. Everybody.
That's okay. Yeah, everybody knows you're here. Wow. Oh, that's out at your street. Okay. Tell everybody we said hello.
Wait the live stream. They want to look, and the internet is bad here. Hello. Welcome from Sweet Home.
That little girl, your daughter is so cute. She's just a little doll and real friendly. Oh, that's funny. What grade is she in school? Oh, there she goes again.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So what were you saying, Charlie?
I have questions for the
No.
Go ahead. You have
For the
questions for what?
for the veterans guy.
Yeah.
Because my girlfriend's children, their grandfather was an American soldier killed in the Vietnam War in 1973, and I just discovered that like 2 years ago, just when COVID was starting to hit, and it changed my relationship with them. I don't know. I felt more of a kinship toward them because I grew up in that era, and I was in the Army when I was a young man, and so it kind of made me feel closer to the children, and who are teenagers now. As a matter of fact, the boy is a young adult, but their grandmother, their paternal grandmother, gets a pension from the U.S. government and has been since 1973. And when everybody discovered that, it became a big family conversation, and that's how I got wind of it. So I have a lot of questions about that because I didn't think that he was a staff sergeant when he was killed, and I didn't think somebody like that would get a pension. But apparently, I didn't think the widow would get a pension, but she did. And
Yeah.
as far as I could figure out, it's about $1,000 a month that she's been collecting since '73, which here in Thailand is a lot of money. And so yeah, I'd love to if you see. If his depth of knowledge can give me some insight into that.
Yeah.
I've tried to talk to the old lady. She's my girlfriend's ex-husband's mother. So it's not, you know, and while the kids are in touch with her and they had the family has a relationship with her, I made 3 appointments to have a conversation with, and she broke all 3 of them. So I just took that as a sign of, you know, a Thai person not wanting to say no. So
Yeah.
and didn't show up kind of thing, you know, which is what I thought happened to the coffee lady. So, oh, sure, I'll go. And then they don't show up because it's impolite to say no.
Hey, Charlie, number 4 is the charm.
There you go.
4th try is going to be the charm.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know, I when you told me that story, I got on the internet and tried to see if I could dig anything up on him. I couldn't find anything, but there's got to be some record of him somewhere. Somebody has got to know something about him.
Oh, well, I confirmed it's true. I spoke to his son, not my wife's ex, but he had a brother who's a monk, and I went and visited him. He's been a monk for, I don't know, 30 something years. He's over 50 now, and I went and chatted with him for like an hour. And he confirmed, you know, he was a young boy when his father died, but he had enough information to confirm it was a true story, because I did all the searching as well. And Joseph T. Baker, that was the guy's name, the grandfather's name, who died in Vietnam. There were no records of him on American databases of those killed in action. There are several different databases, and I kept looking and I would find them. But what I discovered from his son is that he joined the U.S. Army here in Thailand. He came to Thailand as a young boy, as a teenager. I don't know exactly how old, but he was a young teenager. I think about 13 when he arrived in Thailand. Joseph T. Baker was the son of an American Indian. His mother was an American Indian, and he came to Thailand. So he spoke Thai, and he became a valuable asset to the U.S. Army, and they recruited him from Thailand. So that probably explains why he's not on any of the American databases of those killed in action, because he was from here, although he wasn't a U.S. citizen, but I guess he was a Thai citizen as well. I don't have all the details of that, but that seems to be what the case is. And yeah, and I also believe, there's no confirmation of this, no way to get it, but just from anecdotes that I've heard from different family stories, is I believe he was involved with clandestine services somehow, just because of where he was stationed at Camp Friendship up in Korat. He was a staff sergeant, which means he had re-enlisted at least once. You don't get that rank without re-enlisting, but you're not an officer. You're a non-commissioned officer, and he lived, but he had a house, a gated house here in Bangkok. He owned a Harley Davidson, and he used to drive back and forth to Korat on his Harley Davidson. He had guard dogs and pistols, which are not unheard of in Thailand, but don't see that many people with them. So all of these little anecdotes suggest to me where he was stationed. Camp Friendship was a beehive of spies and special forces and secret missions all over the region there. It wasn't Air Force Base, but he was in the Army and attached to it. And so, yeah, I think he was connected to the clandestine services somehow as well. That's yes.
Do you know what year that was? He was in Bangkok.
He died in '73. That's the only date I know.
Died in '73.
Yeah, he was killed in action in Vietnam in 1973, which was when the war was winding down. So for an E7 staff sergeant to be going into a war zone at that point in the war suggests, from my knowledge, my limited knowledge of the Army, that it was a voluntary thing. They
Yeah.
wouldn't be, forcing for the most part, unless he had some weird job that he was a, high value job. But I don't think so. I think my guess is that he was doing it voluntarily, because in '73 the war, the Americans were doing their best to pull out,
Yeah.
which they accomplished 2 years later. But so there's all these unanswered questions. So whenever I hear of anybody with any kind of expertise in that realm,
Yeah.
I have a list of questions for you.
Well, it's funny that, and it just kind of dawned on me when I was back in the States. I worked with a girl that her father was a sergeant in the Army, and I'm not sure what year, but their whole family lived in Bangkok for quite a long time. And as a matter of fact, she went to school in Bangkok, and her sister did too. And the stories that they tell growing up is just unbelievable. I think they were there for about 3 or 4 years. And, I've still got her on Facebook. I'll ask her if she remembers some guy that rode a Harley, because I think they all lived in one little area inside of Bangkok, from the way she described it.
Actually, I'll look into that. I could probably get an answer to that as to where his house was, because
Yeah.
I could probably find that out.
Yeah.
It was in Bangkok. I know that.
Yeah, she might know something. She's showed me pictures playing with gibbons, and they had a water buffalo and all kinds of stuff. She told me they had a nanny, and the nanny came to them, because they apparently lived in it wasn't a base where they lived. It was out in amongst the houses, and somebody was going to break into their house, and their nanny warned them about it and saved it from happening. And the nanny's still alive, because when we moved up here, she gave me a phone number and called it and got a hold of her, and they got back in touch after something like 40 years or something like that. So there's still people around, but that there's a lot of Vietnam War history right here in Chiang Mai as well in Bangkok. But that's such an interesting story. It'd be really cool to find out, a little bit more about it.
Well, not only is there, a lot of, a lot of Vietnam stories here, but it dates back, the clandestine services of not only the United States, but Great Britain and Western, the Allies, had a lot of their Asian clandestine services were headquartered right here in Bangkok. As a matter of fact, Tony Price here is saying he must have worked for Air America. I was trying to Google the original name of Air America. It was called something different than Air America just after World War II. And what it was, that was Air America, or whatever the airline was a private front for the CIA that was started by a former Air Force or Army Air Corps general started it up. And what he was doing is he's flying arms to Chiang Kai-shek, who was the Chinese army opposing Mao Zedong back post-World War II. So he had the United States support, but it was a private organization. And that airline eventually morphed into Air America. I don't think Joseph Baker, my kid's grandfather, had anything to do with that. I think he was actually in the Army. And I don't think who knows? It's hard to say. But this Bangkok was a bevy of spies, Western spies. Jim Thompson, the guy with the silk thing, he was a spy. The founder of the Bangkok Post was a guy named Alexander McDonald. He was an American spy as well during the war. After the war, he started the Bangkok Post. Jim Thompson went into the silk business. And while they were assets to the newly formed CIA, they didn't get along that well. The military OSS had a different kind of philosophy. It's a long story, but they clashed a little bit with the CIA, but yet they were assets to them. So, there's all these spy stories that date back to World War II, and a lot of them right around Bangkok. And what an interesting, place it was. And Pat Pong, the area of Pat Pong, that's a red light district now, was owned by Udom Pat Pong. He was a family guy, and he was an OSS operative as well, friends with all of these people. And that's how the area developed. He started building office buildings for, the CIA and the Air Force and airlines and all these businesses that collected there. And all of these businesses after World War II started growing up on what was once a banana farm owned by the Pat Pong family, and it became this, haven for small businesses post World War II. And what happens if you put army officers and business executives and people earning, Western paychecks in one area like that? What comes next are the girls, and that's what it developed into. On these, there's this gigantic red light district that still exists today, as far as I know. I've been over there.
Yeah. There used to be another one that I've read about called Washington Square. Has that ever popped up in your? Have you ever heard of that place?
I have, and no, it's kind of faded away. It's been redeveloped, but I think what Washington Square used to be barracks for officers and that kind of thing. But yeah, there's a lot of stories from that area as well. I think it's been redeveloped.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Pat Pong has pretty much been redeveloped as well. The last time I went through there in 2000, would have been 2007. And, it was all markets, and, they started setting up the markets at like 4 o'clock in the middle of the street. And, bars on either side. I mean, it's just crazy. But now you go through there and it's completely deserted. There's nothing there anymore. So, I don't know. It was a really fascinating place. I had stayed at I can tell you exactly when it was. It was November of 2004. Yeah, because I had come over November. No, it was I'm sorry, it was 2004, because I had come back over here to see Lek, and we stayed at the Nari Hotel, which is right around the corner from Pat Pong. And I got out there about 3:30 when they were setting up those tents, and I mean, it was like a jungle. You'd see they were throwing this stuff around, and crazy. I wish I would have had a video camera of it. It was just amazing. And then by 5 o'clock, it was all set up. And then 11 o'clock at night, they'd tear it all down and the street would be open the next day. Really, really something else. But, unfortunately, they don't have it anymore.
I had walked down that street pre-COVID, when COVID started, 2020. So I know it was probably January, February of 2020, right before the pandemic started. And it looked pretty wild on that street. I was just walking through. I was actually on a Tinder date, and we had eaten dinner at a restaurant over there. It was actually a Russian lady that I went on a date with. And I didn't even know, I had thought that they didn't have that anymore there at Pat Pong. And I mean, this was 2020, and we go walking down that street, and I kind of felt bad that I had taken this lady down that street. I didn't know that it was still like that. And it was crazy. We were just walking through, but yeah, it was ladies, women, girls everywhere. It was crazy, but I think it's dead now. I don't know. I don't know.
When I went through the last time I went through was during COVID, and it had completely shut down.
I wonder if it's coming back now. I haven't heard anything. I don't
know. I haven't. Have you heard anything, Charlie? Are they going to bring it back in, or?
I have, that's kind of a distance from where I live. I haven't been over there in a while. I know that Nana and Soy Cowboy are pretty busy and active. I've walked through them. I have a video coming up next week where I take a walk through them. And, it's hard to tell whether they're back to where they once were, but there's certainly plenty going on there. As for Pat Pong, I haven't been over there.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Well, guys, we're coming up on an hour, and I try to keep these at an hour so everybody can do whatever they're going to do. And if anybody's got any questions, throw them at us now before we sign off, and we'll try to get them answered for you. And if not, we'll see you next week sometime, or next Saturday anyway. Some of us will. Maybe, who knows? Who knows? We'll show up.
With Tony the Brit.
For an hour, what I'm doing.
Do what?
I said I never know an hour beforehand what I'm doing the next hour. I don't keep a schedule.
It's hard to. Hell, I'm lucky to know what day it is half the time. Is the beer garden on Soy 7 still open, or was it a cat? I don't know. Charlie, you might know that. The beer garden?
I have a sense that it is open, but I'm not sure.
I think it is. I think I was on that street before.
Yeah. Now, there used to be a beer garden behind me. It was a 7-Eleven on Soy 11 or 7 or 11. I forget which one. There used to be a 7-Eleven there, and there was a beer garden beside it, but they've torn the 7-Eleven down. And there used to be a circular road that you could walk in around behind it, and that's all gone now too. So I don't know if that's where he was talking about or not. But
I think the one he's referring to is open, but right down the street from there, I was walking by there and there was like a whole little bar, like these little alleys with all these like makeshift bars set up, but they were all closed. Like they got in trouble. I think they had minor girls in there. And I was talking to a lady in there that was cleaning out our stuff. They said the whole area got shut down. They're never going to let them open again or something down there. But then I think the beer garden was right down the street. I think that was there.
yeah,
I don't know if this was during the day, so I don't know if it's crowded at
Yeah,
night or
same
anything.
that whole area has changed so much over the years, and it's kind of sad because I can remember going there, and we always stayed there. And you'd walk down the street, and there was food everywhere, vendors everywhere, people moving around, and even before COVID, they'd started cleaning it up a little bit, and they've moved the food vendors into that little area next to where the you had a video where there was a marijuana selling truck out there, and they've moved all the food vendors in there, so it's pretty interesting. Well, listen, we appreciate everybody stopping in, and check us out same time next week. I'll be here, and whoever else shows up, Greenie or Jacko or Charlie, and whoever else wants to come in is welcome to come in. And just send me a message, and I'll put them on. But y'all have a good week and take care. We'll see you guys later.
Take care.
See you.
See you
Yeah.
later. You don't have your hat on. Where's your hat?
Oh, it's over here. Yeah, not the brown one because it's.
You lost the brown one. There you go. All right, man. Hey, I'll see you later. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.